happiness is like an orgasm. If you think about it too much, it goes away.
Yeah.
And it maybe is really like an orgasm, in that an orgasm does happen if you're thinking about the sexy stuff you like. You're not thinking about I'm going to have this orgasm. You're thinking about the sexy stuff you like, or you're having the experience of... It's so funny. I'm completely talking about masturbation here. Some people have orgasms by having sex.
You did this talk at the University of Western Australia that, again, I think about 4 million people have watched this. And it was
74 million people.
74?
Well, it got nicked.
Fuck, I got that wrong.
No, it got nicked by a... that might be wrong, but it got kind of taken and re-edited by a sort of self-help site in America, and tens of millions of people saw it. And I wrote to them and went, I suppose you get a lot of advertising money off that video,
can I have some?
And they're like, yeah, bye. I'm like, fine.
But it's so interesting because that was about 8 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
And I wonder if you stand by those 9 life lessons now, or if you've had any change of perspective over the years.
No.
So, for instance, I really enjoyed the one about don't seek happiness, because that's why my podcast is called Happy Place, and everything I do is sort of revolving around dissecting happiness and what it is, and I have no clue.
I desperately wanted to hear more about...
I mean, I have no idea, hence why I just keep working, because I genuinely have no answers. I don't feel any more content in understanding it, but I think you're absolutely right. It's not seekable.
It's not what we evolved to do. Happiness is a side effect. Happiness is happiness is a state of the mammal you are, having, ticked the boxes it requires at the time. And it's always going to be cyclical. There's certainly things you can do to make sure you are mindful and appreciative, and there are books you can read, and there are people who are miserable. But I just think the solution is not to focus on it. The solution, in short, I stand by it. I stand by that and all the other things, really. I think I wrote that speech very quickly because it was just how I think about the world, and my Buddhist friend says it aligns almost entirely with that, and I guess that's lovely. Yeah, I think, well, as I think I said in the speech, happiness is like an orgasm. If you think about it too much, it goes away.
Yeah.
And it maybe is really like an orgasm, in that an orgasm does happen if you're thinking about the sexy stuff you like. You're not thinking about I'm going to have this orgasm. You're thinking about the sexy stuff you like, or you're having the experience of... It's so funny. I'm completely talking about masturbation here. Some people have orgasms by having sex. But, whatever's in your head or in your feelings, the more you just immerse yourself in that.
That was a glimpse into your mind in the most wonderful way.
More a glimpse into my house. Yeah, I think... That doesn't... I think that there's an industry around happiness, and I understand why people are interested in it and want to dissect it. I suspect my version is a bit like your version, which is you just stay busy.
Yeah.
So that the darkness is sort of bullied out.
And that's one thing I'm fascinated about it, because how much am I trying to control this situation, and how many moments of absolute spontaneous happiness am I missing because I'm trying to control it by essentially being creative, which absolutely floats my boat, and I know there's almost guaranteed happiness no matter what the end result is. But how much room am I leaving for just, there was just some happiness there?
Yeah, and it's relative as well. Of course it's relative.
Yeah.
Happiness is completely relative. It's why lucky fucking people with money like us still talk about it, because I have everything I could have possibly dreamed of times 10 in terms of creative satisfaction and relationship and money and a home and freedom and respect are just so far beyond my wildest dreams. And I'm one of those lucky people who's been able to experience the truth of the utter cliche that it doesn't make you happy. I'm no happier now than I was when I was poor. And it's called the hedonic treadmill. It's hedonic regression. You know, we revert. It's much more about your neurology and what happened to you when your mind was developing, your brain was developing in your childhood, and you kind of. There's absolutely no doubt there are people who live very, very, very simple lives with very, very few material possessions who are very happy, and there are people who are filthy, filthy rich who are miserable, in fact. More, I would say.
Yeah.
And so the risk is misdiagnosing what you need, I suppose. I'm just thinking on my feet. The risk is that you misdiagnose what you need, and the obsession with happiness increases the risk of misdiagnosis because you're poking around trying to figure out what it is you want, and you think, well, I'll do more of this and I'll get more of that, and I'll buy some very nice yoga pants, and I'll do my bathroom, and I'll get a fucking pizza oven, and Fearne has a pizza oven. And I'll,
I feel so bad about this pizza oven. You give me a complex about this bloody pizza oven.
That's what I've tried to do. And or I'll have an affair, or I'll make sure my kids get in this school, or I'll get a nose job, or and what you said, that you might be missing stuff. I mean, it's inevitably true in a capitalist sort of keeping up with the Joneses. We compare ourselves. I mean, that's the main curse, and then we compare ourselves, find ourselves wanting, and try and solve it. And once you're on that journey, you're fucked, right? And when you're someone like me, or for whatever reason, I'm wired to have, when exposed to what I've been exposed to, which is success and adoration or whatever, people liking me and thinking I'm clever, my wiring just is insatiable. I now, it's worse. It hasn't satisfied it, it's made it worse. I'm now like, well, it's really weird.
Because you need the next level up, or you just need more of it?
I don't know. It's just insatiable.
Yeah.
And that's something I could work on, but that makes me sound like a desperate fuck.
No, I think it's very honest.
Pushing.
Portrayal of how most of us feel in our working lives, or otherwise.
Yeah, and I do all right at making sure that person is not the person I am. It doesn't govern my decisions, and it doesn't, the main thing I do is try and be a really nice dad and, have a lovely marriage and, all that. I have kept my values in the right place. I've done very well at that. I'm very proud of that, at my sort of, basically my social conservatism, that I have prioritised.
And do you think that was informed by your childhood?
Absolutely,
or how
yeah. I'm from a close family, and I just think I wouldn't want to deny my kids that. And so I've stuck with my marriage, and I do all the other stuff. I don't take drugs, and I've been very wary of not letting my career distract me from my value set, And I think I've done well, but it's a bit of a thing. You have to make a conscious choice.
And I think you're right. So much of the foundations for that lie in childhood, which obviously we have no control of when we're kids, but how we process that down the line. We've got Gabor Mate coming on, I think, next week. We put out whenever. And I'm nervous to interview him because his last book really digs into that. And it does look also at the possibilities of neurodivergent kids and the root of that, which also all of it scares me, because I wonder how much I've already fucked my kids up and how much I will continue to, because I'm not addressing things that I know need addressing.